that short delay. There's a tornado burling outside of Chipmunk's house, so he's trying to get this stream to us while he's looking out for his safety as well. And I'm back once again with Linty.
How's it going, Bagels?
I'm doing better than Chipmunk apparently, and for those that don't know, our stream match for next Monday on the previous selection is going to be that Vortex matchup versus Blaze. So that's going to be our stream match for Monday. And once again, if any of the viewers had any friends that left the chat, if you could please bring them back so we could see this matchup between the Kings and Distortion. What do you think about this matchup here, Linty?
Well, both the teams, they're kind of middle of the pack. Distortion 2-1 and Kings 1-2. They're probably pretty close in overall standings. But I think it'll be a close game. It should be well fought, and it should be just really fun to watch overall. I'm looking for some high speed and high action.
Yeah, the Kings were part of season 1, and they have got 3rd place in the playoffs last season. But Distortion is a new rival league team, and I'm interested to see how they do this season. And we got both the teams in the lobby right now, just waiting on them to join. But yeah, interested to see how they play here.
I know, looking at the power rankings, Kings for this past week were placed as 4th, while Distortion was tied for 6th. So they're not too far off. I don't know what the total point score differential was, but I bet it's fairly close.
Yep, and we're gonna get here started right now for game 1. Folks and Cajun on the kickoff. Cajun actually the resident GM in this matchup. Interested to see how he plays. I've only played against him one time, and that was just in a scrim. So now we got Doodle on the ball. Tuscamo sends it back to the middle, but nobody there for the follow-up. Cajun's gonna hard clear this to Doodle in the corner, but blocked by Vokes. Tuscamo up, sending it to the mid. Wolfie up, bouncing it off the sidewall, but nobody there. Tuscamo's gonna take it onto the orange half, but Doodle sends it right back. Punch with the hit off the backboard. Awkward hit from the orange players, but Vokes can't do anything about it. Tuscamo back to the middle, and Wolfie's gonna control this in the corner. Great clear to the midfield, but Vokes is right there to cut it off. Tuscamo's gonna have a free ball here, and that's gonna go right into the net. Great shot.
Yeah, looking at it, Kings, they're kind of missing some touches on their own half. They're leaving the ball kind of out in the middle. Distortion's taking great advantage of it. And that was a great finish shot right there from Tuscamo to place on that upper 90.
Yeah, a couple awkward clears came out from the Kings players, and Distortion was just able to take advantage of that and able to send hard shots one after the other onto the net until one eventually came in from that great shot. As now the Distortion players are going to send this back to the orange half again, past Doodle. Nobody there on the opposite half. He came in at the last second. All Distortion players retreating, nobody on this ball. Eventually Tuscamo turns, but it's too late. Orange player misses on the sidewall. And Wolfie's up for this. A double commit comes out. No players make contact with the ball, and Tuscamo's going to have another free hit, but he gives it away. Almost goes in. Cajun sending this back out. Wolfie's going to control this up the sidewall. Back to the middle. Great pass for Doodle. Can't quite put that on. Doodle sending it back to the middle again, but Cajun's too far in the midfield. Sending it back off the sidewall. Doodle's up for this. Sends it over to Vokes. Awkward hit for him. Not sure if he was trying to back pass or send it up, but either way, nobody on Distortion was ready for that. Punch sends it back to the middle again. Cajun up off the backboard. Nobody ready for this. Doodle's gonna have another free shot. Sends it on, right on the crossbar, and Wolfie's gonna have a free hit.
That's just a lot of good pressure coming from the Kings. They were placing the ball around the defense. Defense couldn't quite figure out how to get it out of their own half, but then a good touch from Doodle, placing it awkward off the backboard. Hard to read, but it dropped down right in front of net, and then a great finish coming from Wolfie.
Yeah, it was kind of a very similar goal to how Distortion scored their first goal. A lot of players either on the backboard or nobody on the backboard at all. And that kind of sowed confusion on both teams. So I think both teams need to kind of get control of their backboard defense, but as I say that, Vokes comes out with another shot, and only one Kings player was back, and he just couldn't get there in time.
That was just a great team play coming from Hunch. He knew where Vokes was, placed it right in front of him, and Vokes was that power shot on that left side of the defense, and they didn't read the shot coming. Just overall great team play.
Yeah, definitely. Distortion looks like they have the majority of the pressure in this match. As another shot comes on, but easy save from Doodle. He's going for the pinch here. Great pinch. That's going to sail towards the enemy backboard. And Hunch is able to handle it, though. Nobody on Kings was ready for that. Vokes, another hard hit down, and he's going to have an open net to look at. But Doodle comes in at the last second to make a great save. Hunch sends it off the sidewall. Teskimo up, but gets blocked out by Doodle. Miss coming out from Vokes. Cajun's up for this. Passes it off to Doodle. And a great shot, but just off the crossbar. They needed to capitalize off that. Not sure if they're going to get any more chances like that.
Yeah, it was great placement. It was unfortunate they didn't crossbar down. It was really close to going in. But with that missed shot, the pressure for Distortion is going back to the offensive side, and Kings are now on the back foot.
Yeah, it really looks like it's a close game so far, and they still have a minute and a half for Kings to tie this up, but it definitely looks like Distortion has had the majority of control in this matchup. And I'm not sure what it is exactly, other than just those mistakes. I think it's just those simple mistakes as another one comes out, and Wolfie misses in the midfield, and Hunch is going to send in the third one for the Kings.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Hunch, he read Wolfie was going to dive high for that ball, so he just pinched it on the ground, rolled all the way down the field. It was a great read on that shot, and just nobody was back to defend it.
Yeah, I think Wolfie may have thought there was a third man back, or maybe he just thought he needed to make a more desperate hit than he needed to. But either way, Hunch is going to send that in, and now Distortion have all the control in this game one. But now they're awkward on defense. But Vokes gonna have a free hit up the wall. He has plenty of time. Nobody challenging. Eventually Doodle comes in and sends it off the backboard. Wolfie's up. Doesn't get the hit though. Sends it back to the middle, and that's just gonna trickle in off a blue player. Lucky goal for Kings.
And that was just a crazy awkward touch. Wolfie, he landed on the backboard and played it right behind Teskimo, who had jumped for the ball. And it just hit off the back of his car and rolled in. Just a crazy play, but good awareness from Wolfie.
Yeah, they kind of looked out of it now, but maybe that might have sparked a little banter in the chat, as Cajun had a free shot there, but not able to put it in. Maybe they might be able to rally back in these next 40 seconds to try and tie it up.
Yeah, I do think that the Kings, they need to get the ball down the field, get some more pressure away from their own defensive half, try to control the ball more. But Distortion, they're looking really good. They're reading where the ball's going, and they're placing it to the Kings.
Yeah, definitely. And Kings are starting to look a little better now. But they only have 15 more seconds to work with here. Cajun's sending it to the corner. Hunch back out. Doodle's going to take the boost and the ball. Back for again. Great 50. Back out to the middle, but Teskimo bumps the second man. Wolfie's able to recover from the bump, though, and the ball's in front of the net, and Cajun able to tie it up with 1 second left.
That was just great placement from Wolfie. He placed it up there. Hunch, he had to jump over the top of Doodle. Doodle with great awareness to break up that in-net defensive pressure. And Cajun just with a great finish right in the middle of the net with 1 second left.
Yeah, really 2 unfortunate goals for Distortion, giving up that second bump goal with the pass to the middle, and then a really just unfortunate situation to give up that goal with 1 second left. The Kings might be able to take this in overtime now with this reverse change in momentum. Doodle sending it up the sidewall. With an almost goal from the Distortion players, Teskimo last back. He's going to have to clear this to his corner. Cajun's going to have a free hit. Awkward ball in front of the net. Cajun again gets blocked out by Vokes, though. Wolfie's going to chase this down. Back out, and he has an open net, but he misses. The last man back was bumped, but now Doodle up again. Misses his double hit. Cajun again, another lofty ball on net, but easily cleared away. Cajun again on the ball. It seems like Cajun's been on the ball for the last 5 challenges. I'm not sure where the rotation is for Kings. But they just have all this pressure right now. It's working for them.
Yeah, Kings are doing a great job. They're placing the ball near the net, around the defense, and they're scrambling, making all these U-turns with limited boost, and just keeping the offensive pressure going against Distortion. But they've had about 3 shots so far that they could have probably made that would have won them the game, and hopefully they can finish one coming up soon.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely needed to capitalize on 2 or 3 of those opportunities, as you mentioned. But now Distortion's kind of starting to swing this momentum to the other side, and Teskimo's going to put it in. Kings needed to capitalize on those previous opportunities.
And that's what can hurt you if you don't capitalize early enough. Teskimo, he read that one of the Kings players went off the backboard. He thought it was going to bounce all the way up there. It kind of hung short. But Teskimo, he saw that that defensive player in net was playing the back post, so he shot it on that front post. It was an easy goal to score and well placed.
Yeah, and a lot of those goals scored against the Kings were with only one man back. I think they need a slightly better rotation to support their defense. That last ball may have been savable, but either way, it would help to have 2 people on defense and give the second man more confidence to push up so they're not super awkward in net like that.
And it does happen. It was more of a misread coming up the backboard. It looked like it was going to bounce high and long, but once it hit that bottom corner, it kind of died and landed short. And Teskimo, he read it correctly the whole way through, and that's why he was ready for that shot.
Yeah, and as much as Kings could have won in that overtime and played a little bit sloppily for the first few minutes of this game, I don't think that they can be feeling down on themselves, as coming into game 2, they have a pretty decent chance to win this series. That first game, they had 15 shots, which was over double what Distortion had.
And they did have some good pressure through multiple parts of that game. The problem is when they had pressure, they weren't finishing their shots. They would place it off the crossbar. They place it just outside the post. Give Distortion time to get the ball away from their net and off the defensive half. And if they even made like another 2 goals, they would have easily won that game. So let's see if they can finish these goals coming into game 2 and just take an outright lead.
Yeah, so now we're here for game 2. Let's see if Kings can come back and tie it up at 1 apiece, or if Distortion can take a commanding lead in the series 2-0. Punch up, sends it over to the Kings half. Cajun up the sidewall, uncontested for now, fakes it past Teskimo. Invokes up for this. Air dribble gets bumped though, but the ball's just gonna fly into the net. Have no idea where the third man was for the Distortion player, or the Kings players.
And that was a great play from Vogue. See, that third man was a little bit aggressive, but he was so quick coming off that sidewall after he hit it that he just beat the third man outright. And then a goal steal coming from Hunch. He just took it away. Now he's 1 for 0 on his goals to shots, so he's doing really well as well, according to the scoreboard.
Yeah, absolutely. The indefinite percentage there. But as good of a beat as it was by Hunch, I'm not sure if one of the Kings players was going for a demo or some sort of rotational play. It just didn't work out, because it seemed like there was a lot of time for them to get back to that ball, as it just sailed in at a lofty like 20 miles an hour.
Well, I think it had more to do with the first man was still upfield. There was 2 people back, and Vokes, he just beat both of them. He beat the first man by hitting it to the sidewall, and then the second man by that slow pop over the top.
Well, whatever it was, the Distortion players are continuing to look good on the field, as Vokes is able to put in the second one top left.
And Vokes, he's looking really solid. That touch right there, bouncing it off the ground, that's hard to read unless you're a lot closer and you can block it. But he pops it over that first defender. The second man, he's stunned because he can't jump too quick. Goes right over the top of him, and then he places it high just below the crossbar for a great finish.
It was a great play to beat that first man, and the Kings players just weren't expecting him. All of them were flat-footed, as Vokes was able to just cleanly and powerfully put that top left. But now Wolfie on the ball, pass out to the middle. Doodle isn't quite able to wrangle that in. Punch off his backboard. Back to the middle, weak clear. Wolfie not able to get a powerful shot on, though. Another poor clear from Teskimo. As now Distortion's the one on the back foot, but Cajun with a miss. Kind of works out as a fake for Wolfie, but smacks it off the backboard. Nobody ready for the follow-up. Cajun continuing to beat out these defenders. And gets it past another Doodle off the corner. Up to the middle. Wolfie pre-jump, though. This is going to leave Cajun in a very awkward spot here. Able to get it past two, though, and the demo comes out. Wolfie's going to have a free hit here, but hits it very poorly. Able to recover, though. And Vokes with the hard clear down. Cajun back in his own corner. Vokes out to the middle. Demo comes out from Hunch, but nobody there to follow. And it's starting to look like the Kings aren't having confidence anymore. It looks like Cajun's kind of leading that charge. And they need support from Doodle and Wolfie.
Yeah, and it's really awkward for the Kings right now. They are doing really well about getting some pressure every now and again, but their shot placement or their touches when they're going for shots aren't what they need to be, so they're not finishing goals. And then Distortion, they start bringing it the other way, and they have some super solid players. You're watching Vokes, and he's just kind of he can 1v2 every now and again, and it's working out well for their team.
Yeah, it really looks like Kings need to be more of have a well-rounded rotation right now, as Cajun is continually being the one on the ball, beating out these defenders, and either Doodle or Wolfie aren't there, or they're making subpar touches. As I say that, though, Doodle with a great hit down, but Wolfie gets blocked by Teskimo in the box. Cajun's going to send this off the backboard. Hunch back out to the middle. Following it up again. Awkward hit off Wolfie's car. Doodle misses. Teskimo in for the shot. A slow roller, but Doodle's able to handle it. Hunch and Vokes, both not in a great place here, but able to clean it up to the left side. Teskimo with a big clear down onto the Kings half. Off the backboard, but Hunch decided to leave it, and that might have been the safe play with 1 minute left. Don't want to overcommit and let the Kings get back into this game like they did with game one. They don't want to make any mistakes this time around.
And they're playing it smart. They know that the Kings, they're not doing really well about making their shots. They're 0 for 4 this game. They were, I believe, 3 for 15 or so through the first game. So they can give them a little bit of space on the defensive half and then just turn that pressure around and go all offense.
Yeah, and you hate to see it for Kings coming into this game too now, but a great shot on, and that might be able to get them back into the game.
Yeah, it was highly unfortunate, but good placement from Doodle. Placed around the corner, and that third man coming for Distortion pushed way too far up. There was no need to get that kind of offense pressure going with 2 goals up, but Doodle read that the defense was upfield, good power shot down the field, and they're 1 goal off the tie now.
And another awkward spot for them, but Vokes comes out with a great save. And now Kings are going to be hard-pressed here to find another goal as the final seconds are counting down. Wolfie in his own corner. Sends it back out to the middle with no boost, nobody there. Doodle getting harassed in the corner. Cajun on the ball, past to Doodle, but misses. He spins himself out, and now Wolfie's going to have to take this all the way down, but he just can't, as Distortion's going to take a commanding lead in the series, up 2-0.
And 2-0, that they're playing really well. They deserve to be up these 2 goals, or these 2 games. But Kings, they've had their chances. They need to be able to finish on what they've had. And I think they need to kind of rework their offense a little bit. Their third man seems a little bit far back. Their second man always seems to be the one that's getting the ball set up after the first man. And so if the second man's setting it up and the third man's too deep, they're never going to score a goal because they're never close enough to beat the defense.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier on, Distortion was playing that rotation very safe and very smart, and ultimately that was what worked out for them. They had 1 slip-up, which allowed Kings to get that first goal. But now Kings are going to be looking back on that game 1 where they really should have had it, and now they're going to be in a reverse sweep situation. And as we both know, it's never easy, as we got reverse swept and also could not pull off the reverse sweep. So it's going to be an interesting situation here for Kings.
Yeah, I know in those game fives, we've definitely kind of dropped the ball this season. It's always a lot of pressure, and it, but that doesn't mean that you can't pull it off. Teams are very good about figuring out how to break the other team down somewhere in the mid game or mid series. So just look for Kings bringing it to Distortion. This may be their turnaround game when all of a sudden all their shots start pouring in, and they could bring that momentum all the way through game five and pull it off.
Yeah, if they can somehow find that game one pressure, it could very easily be Kings series. They could take it back and win it in game five, but they need to fix that rotation and maybe stop playing so aggressive. It feels like Cajun was on the bottom of the scoreboard that game, but I felt like he was the guy on offense, and I feel like they need a more well-rounded rotation to to get Kings on offense more like they were in game one. In game one, everybody was on the ball. All the pressure was equally dispersed.
And sometimes it's not your day. You can't figure out how to place it in the net, and that's kind of what I feel like Kings are at right now. They can't seem to get the ball to go home and get some points on the board, and that's why Distortion's getting all this pressure on them. But if Kings, if game three comes along and all of a sudden it just clicks for them, I think that they can definitely pull away and they can take the lead and probably pull it to a game five. And if they pull that, if they keep that momentum going through these next three games, I think they could definitely win it.
Yeah, they absolutely could. Um, but now Distortion up 2-0, and they might just continue to resort to that safe play style and try and let Kings come to them. But we'll
Yeah,
have to
you always
see.
have to be careful about that as well, though. Because if Kings they find their rhythm, and they start scoring those goals, it might work when they're not scoring and they're missing all their shots. But if you give them that chance to catch fire, then you can definitely end up losing a series over it.
Yeah, and we kind of had an extended break as some of the players were having trouble getting into the lobby, and we'll see if that is able to help out the Kings. But as I say that, Vokes able to put the ball in on another open net.
And it was just awkward from Cajun. He misread it off the sidewall. And Wolfie, he was in a 1v1 situation, but a great 50 coming from Teskimo. Placed it right over the net. And Vokes, he was just there to place it home with nobody to defend it.
Yeah, and once again, Kings starting out down for I believe the third game in a row, and they got to change something here. They just need a more solid defense. I feel like their offense is fine if they can work together, but it's just that defense. They always have that last man back, either with no boost or he's in a vulnerable position. Like right now, Cajun, he just has no boost, but it works out because the Distortion players weren't ready. But something's changed since that game one, and Kings just they don't look right now.
And they're missing a lot of those powers on their shots on net. But like that could just be a rhythm thing. Oh, and as I'm saying that, Vokes just perfect shot going into the net. Teskimo placed it right on Doodle, but Hunch he was there harassing him, so he couldn't get a good clear. And good finish from Vokes.
Yeah, there wasn't much Doodle could do right there. Maybe he could have tried to bounce dribble it out, but then once again, Hunch was right there behind him and could have easily bumped him out of the way and maybe not even got out for that original save. As I say that, Doodle coming in with the shot, but nowhere near the net. Cajun up the sidewall, air dribbling it out, passes it, but nobody's ready. Vokes is gonna have a free clear out, and Doodle sends it back to Teskimo. Hard clear over to Cajun. Off his own sidewall, but it's a poor hit, and now Wolfie's back in another awkward spot. Is able to handle this and put it out to the corner for Doodle. But these clears and rotations from Kings are just too slow on defense right now. And Distortion, once again, they're up 2-0, and they're going to continue to let the Kings be awkward and kind of beat themselves in this game 3.
And Vokes, he just seems to always be there. I think he's reading the Kings very well. He always seems to be right in the line of clear out. And as I'm saying that, Vokes, he gets the dunk, and Teskimo, he's just there for the finish.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Vokes is the player to be on the ball. He's making those 50s. He's putting those shots on in threatening spots, or last minute desperation from that third man, and just making it easy for his second or third man in Teskimo and Hunch to clean up. And now Kings are down 3-0, and they have a lot of time to work with here, but the momentum is very against them in this game 3. And they just want to show me up as Doodle comes in to put the first one in for Kings.
Yeah, that caster curse, but a great touch from Cajun. Teskimo, he wasn't quite ready. He was parked in the net. It was just wide of him, but Doodle, super speedy, placed on that front post shot, and a good team play coming out of the Kings. Hopefully they can keep that up.
Absolutely. Doodle up for this. Sends it out. He has all 3 players to work with here. A double commit comes out, but he's able to get it past. He's going to have to send this to the corner to keep possession. It gets hard beat by Vokes. Doodle up with a poor touch in the midfield. Hunch is going to send this out. Teskimo up. Hunch is going to beat out Cajun. Wolfie back. Gets the clear to the corner. Hunch with an attempted back pass. And once again, the Kings, they just don't look right on offense right now, as another side flip comes out from Cajun, and Doodle has to clean it up for him. It's just that defense for them right now. As I don't know if it's miscommunication or just poor decision making, but it just looks awkward for them right now.
For me, I think for the Kings, it just looks like they're slightly off to the side of where they need to be on all their offensive possessions. They'll have like a good pass opportunity for a shot, but then the second man or the third man, he's always having to come across the field, so the best he can do is play it to the corner and not get a shot on net.
And now they're starting to get that confidence on offense again, as they put a few threatening shots on. As Doodle sends another one on top right, Teskimo able to save it away, and a great hit from Hunch to keep it out. And now Distortion's going to move on to the orange side of the field. Teskimo just sending it into the corner to keep possession. But Vokes is going to miss out. Hunch clearing it past 2. Cajun's last man back now. Dribbling it out to the sidewall. Sends it back out to the middle. Teskimo with a good 50. And Wolfie with another subpar hit to the corner. These passes and clears from Kings just aren't crisp. They're not to each other. They're not fast enough. Kings, I hate to keep bringing it up, but it's just that defensive rotation from them as they're on offense again. When they're on offense, they're lethal, but it's just that defense for them.
Yeah, they're having a lot of weak touches. I think they're trying to play a little bit too quick for what they're doing. I think they need to work on their positioning a little bit more. I do know mechanics are a big thing, but they could definitely pull it through if they worked on their positioning as a team, because they have so many shot opportunities that Distortion's giving them. And if they were in the right spot, they could easily place it in.
Yeah, now Distortion, they're keeping these balls high and lofty, making all these Kings players lose their boost. And now as the final 10 seconds roll in, it's all but over for Kings, as they're gonna get swept in this matchup. And I don't even really feel like they played that bad. Their defense was a little questionable at times, but maybe they're just not a defensive team at the moment, and they need to work on that part of their game. But when they're on offense, they look good. They look really good. I think they might even look better than Distortion on offense.
And they did. Whenever they were on offense, they would get so many shots, but it was just a little bit off on their positioning. If they move around or have somebody play a little bit on the opposite side, they would have so many more finishes, and they could definitely pull it through. And if they start getting that offensive pressure where they're actually scoring goals, that makes it to where the other team's offense is a bit more rushed. The other team's defense is a bit more panicked, and they could really be a hard-fought team to play against.
Yeah, now Distortion with the easy 3-0 sweep. Or not easy, sorry, I hate to say that. It was a little bit of a hard-fought sweep, and some of the games were close, but ultimately, Kings' defense was just too sloppy. But once again, in this game 3, Kings come out with 9 shots, beating out Distortion's 5 shots. And in fact, Teskimo had to come up with 6 saves to keep the Kings at bay. And I'm hoping Kings for the rest of the season can keep up that offensive play.
Yeah, and all it does take is just a little bit of watching back the gameplay, figuring out where somebody needs to be to fix the issues. But another issue that they had was that they always seemed to start down in these games. Distortion, they'd come out with the first goal or the first 2 goals, and then Kings, they were kind of panicked on defense trying to get the ball upfield. They weren't making their best touches, and I think maybe calming down a little bit, kind of talking more, and they could definitely work it out to be a really solid team within Rival League.
Yeah, absolutely. But now, I believe you said. Did you say Distortion was 1-2 or 2-1?
If we go back to the news, uh, Distortion is 2-1, and you can see why. They did well. They finished their shots, and their defense at times, while they gave Kings a lot of offensive opportunities, they did well about getting the ball out and relieving pressure. Well, Kings
Yeah.
are 1-2.
Yeah. So now Distortion going to move to 3-1, and they're going to be. It's early on in the season, but that's going to be a prime spot for them to contend for those playoffs. And we're going to bring Teskimo in here from Distortion here shortly so we can hear about his matchup. And here he is. There is the Thomas Teskimo. How you doing after that sweep, buddy?
Hello, dude. I'm doing pretty fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. I'm feeling pretty good right now.
In fact, you're feeling so good. I said your name and Siri activated on my phone, so it must be good. Um,
Wow.
so what was it that kept you guys in that match? Because when the Kings were on offense, it looked like you guys were kind of vulnerable, and it didn't look good on defense from you at times because of the offense from Kings. But time and time again, you guys were able to counterattack and just get these seamlessly easy goals on the Kings defense. What was it about the Kings that you guys were just able to counterattack so easily?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know because I see what you were saying with how they had a lot of offense, and I think the roster that we have that we were playing with me, Hunch, and Vokes, that's definitely more of a like defensive minded roster to where we're probably gonna wait back more and like wait for mistakes to happen. So I think even though we were making like a decent amount of mistakes, I think we just we ended up kind of just clutching up and getting out of them, and we ended up getting the counter goals, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And Lindsay?
So, looking back on it, like what was it that y'all? I know you're talking about being defensive minded, but when y'all got out ahead in each of these games, what were you doing to say like to keep the pressure off of y'all? And I know the Kings were getting good pressure, but was there anything specific you were looking at, like players you relied on to keep the game uh, from flip flopping back to the other end?
I think overall we were kind of just like I mean honestly, we were chilling the entire time. I can't really like say that we were depending on anybody in particular. I mean Vokes was coming in clutch. I just love him. You know, like he was playing nuts. I think overall everybody played their part whenever they needed to. Like we got all the important clears, I think, and stuff. And yeah, I think it honestly just worked out really well. Even though the little mistakes that we had, I think we capitalized on what we needed to, and we like challenged when we needed to. Even if we gave them a little bit of space, I felt like we still felt confident and knew what we were doing, and it ended up kind of showing.
And the last question for you here. Um, how it seemed like Vokes and you were those guys on offense to kind of bring it down the field, and Hunch was able to like kind of play that solid third man. Is that how you felt during the matchup, or did you feel like one player stood out more than the other?
Honestly, like I feel like it's kind of hard to tell sometimes because kind of like well, okay, kind of like I'd already said, it's like trying to like think about who's like the third man and the people in offense. It's kind of tough, and with like Vokes, me, and Punch, I would usually think about it. Well, I don't know. I never really thought about me and Vokes kind of being on the offensive end, but I could kind of see how that's how it ended up working out. And but I think overall it kind of just seems like a clean rotation of everybody. But that might have been what was shining at the moment. I don't. I mean, yeah.
All right. Well, once again, congratulations on that sweep tonight, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a good one. Alrighty, and before we move on to the player of the week,